It's the one and only 5D Transformations. I'm happy to be here. And in this video, we're going to talk about overthinking and how overthinking is blocking your ability to manifest, it's blocking your success. You know what I mean? The reality is, when you're overthinking, um, number one, you probably bypass your first thought because I'm pretty sure your first thought already gave you an idea and you must have thought it wasn't good enough or you were still seeking, oh, it got to be something else. What you're starting to do is the signals that your brain is giving you, the answers that your higher self, or that your innate self, you know what I mean? Because I don't know if it's necessarily your higher self, because everybody isn't connected to that. That takes some work. But even your base self, it's giving you answers from source, answers that pop up right in your head. And when you're bypassing those and that's when you start overthinking. So that's the first thing I want to say. The only reason why you're overthinking is because you're not connected with your first thought. You're not connected with that sense of, you know, just going with what comes to your mind, because you're aligned, because you're moving with momentum, you're moving with speed, you're moving like, your mind body connection. So there isn't a block. It's not slow. The minute you're overthinking, that's when you're leaving room for a con. They like the word confusion. It's a con fusing with your original thought, with your ideas, with your thoughts. And what happens is, now it's a con in there, so you're not able to come to a clear solution. And so what you got to do is you got to eliminate the clutter. A lot of you operate like a computer that has too many applications, or a phone, and it's moving slow because you have all these different ideas that you got to go through, and then you spend so much time thinking, and then the time goes by and you never took action. The moment passes and you never got to capitalize on it. You never got to seize the moment. So what you got to understand is, you got to start operating from the 5D frequency, where you're no longer going out like thinking of what to do and trying to mastermind your way to something. Instead, you already determine what you're going to experience through visualization and meditating, or really visualization, right? And then you just go out there and you go with your first thought, because everything that aligns with that internal world, the things that you visualize, what's going to happen is, based on your reticular activating system, and and just your mind in general, it's going to spot you know things that match that, and it's going to prompt you to move toward it. Like, if you've been dreaming about the woman of your life or the man of your life, for the ladies out there, and then all of a sudden you see a person that fits that, your brain's going to go, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, go after it. And then it's going to be you saying, no, 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 I don't want to. It's like, no, 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 like, that's the person. Like, it's like, nah, I don't know, because I'm dressed up this way and that way, and then you're just blocking yourself. So many people, I know so many people like that, man. A lot of people I coach with, it's hard, where we have to do work to break them past their own um, thinking, because a lot of the time, especially, I teach MBTI. There's certain functions we have, like our introverted thinking can block us at times, because we can be very stubborn. Even extroverted thinking, that's what thinking does, period. Sometimes thinking just gets in the way and blocks action. And the thing is, people think that, oh well, so sometimes people think they're taking action and being productive by overthinking. They're like, oh, I got to plan this out, I got to make sure this and that. But there's so many people I know who, they take very minimal action. And one thing that you don't want to be, and this is something I knew for myself, just studying myself, my personality type, and learning the strengths and weaknesses. One thing I know is, I didn't want to be somebody that started projects and didn't bring them to completion. And I know a lot of people like that. They can start up ideas, they get excited about something, but they can't stick in it for that long. They might do it for a year and some change, and then they're on to the next. So what you don't realize is, the minute you quit, all of that progress dies. Whereas if you would have just kept going consistently, you would have kept growing and growing in a very linear fashion. So you gotta make sure to don't question or think no more. You know what? I'm gonna take it even deeper. This is the deeper way. No shame. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do a separate video on that, but you gotta move forward and not give a fuck. I'm sorry, I gotta just say it. You can't give a fuck. There's times where people might have, you know, showed their confident self, or might have been around work coworkers or whoever, and they just was being them and being free, and then they might have went home, and they might be like, oh man, did I do too much last night? Did I say too much at work yesterday? Or did I over whatever? And you got to stop doing that, because when you're questioning what you did, it shows that you have a lack of trust of your decision making. The reality is, if you are an adult, if you're over 18, whatever you're doing is what you want to do. And if people have a problem with it, that's on them. You know what I mean? And when you're overthinking things that you've done, all it does is it just slows you down. And honestly, what you don't realize is nobody really cares anyways. It's like they say when people say people care so much about people that don't even care about them at all, or something like that. You know what I mean? Um, these Nobody cares. You could have said the wildest stuff, and the next day people might remember for a little while, but people are gonna move on and live their life. And yeah, that shame is one of the lowest frequencies you could possibly have. I think shame is a very dangerous frequency. Shame is lower than anger. It's lower than other negative energies, which really no energies are necessarily negative because they can all be transmuted to serve you. But that's the reality. So what you got to understand is no shame. Have no shame. You are who you are, and you move like a boss. You move like a king. We ain't looking back. We're moving forward. No looking back. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a lot of value to gain from looking back and being able to observe the mistakes you made. And I think that's important. You got to check in. You got to see, all right, let me see where I'm at. But after that, you're good to go. After that, we move forward and we don't look back. So that's my message to y'all. Um, no overthinking. Stand in your power. Be glorious. You know what I mean? Be incredible, because the gift of life is within you, and you are a representation of the divinity of even existing. And there's no reason to limit oneself by overthinking. Trust yourself and don't look back. It's the one and only 5D Transformations. I see you all in the next video. Make sure to like, subscribe. We got the Patreon as well. Very powerful information in there. And let's continue to grow. See y'all in the next video.